Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here is Ms. Suko doing the answers for the homework, finally. Before I get started, thinking about what the steps are for solving equations, important steps to think about is the first step is to distribute. Is there anything that I distribute? And to distribute, you multiply. After you distribute, you're going to need to combine like terms. To combine like terms, you add and subtract. After you distribute and combine like terms, then you isolate your variables. How do you do that? The first step is you add and subtract. Then you multiply and divide. So in this example, in number 1, I can distribute. I'm going to multiply the negative 3 to my negative 3x and to my positive 7. I do not do anything with the negative 5x. Negative 3 times a negative 3x gives me a positive 9x. Negative 3 times positive 7 gives me negative 21 equals 19. I've distributed, and now I need to combine like terms by adding and subtracting my like terms. My two like terms are my negative 5x and my positive 9x. When I put that in my calculator, I do negative 5 plus 9, which gives me positive 4x. The negative 21 is not a like term. I can't combine that. Now I isolate my variable. My variable is my x by adding and subtracting first in order to isolate my variable. I have a negative 21 right here, so the inverse of a negative 21 is adding 21 on both sides. This gives me 4x equals 40. Now I multiply or divide to finish. Because the 4 and the x are being multiplied, the inverse of multiplication is division. My final answer is x equals 10. Same steps for number 2. My negative 4 is going to be distributed to my two terms. Distributing means multiplying. 6x minus 8x, negative 4 times positive 2x. Negative 4 times negative 19 gives me positive 76 equals 98. Now I combine like terms by adding and subtracting. My 6x, my negative 8x. 6x minus 8x gives me negative 2x. If you put 6 minus 8 in your calculator, you get negative 2x. Plus 78, or 76 rather, equals 98. Now I add or subtract. Because this is adding 76, I'm going to subtract 76 from both sides. This gives me negative 2x equals 22. Multiply or divide comes my final step. I divide by a negative 2. I want to completely cancel out my negative 2. X equals negative 11. Number 3. Distribute my negative 6. 5x. Negative 6 times 2x gives me a negative 12x. Negative 6 times negative 6 is positive 36. Combining like terms by adding and subtracting, 5x minus 12x gives me negative 7x plus 36 equals 1. Adding or subtracting comes next. I have a positive 36, my minus 36. Divide by negative 7. Divide by negative 7. My final answer is x equals positive 5. Negative 5, distribute it to my two terms. Negative 6x plus 20x, negative 5 times negative 4x is a positive. Negative 5 times positive 13 is negative 75. Oh, negative 65. Combining like terms, 6x plus 20x gives me 14x. $154. Ooh. Divide both sides by 14. $11. I have my calculator. Yep. Last two. Negative 4. Negative 4 times a negative 6x is positive 24x. Negative 4 times negative 16 is positive 64. Combining like terms, 17. Adding and subtracting comes next. I subtract my negative 64, subtract my 64. 17x equals negative 146. Divide each side by positive 17. And 8. Ooh, mistake, 136. When I add that, when I subtract that rather. So then we've got x equals negative 8. Last one, positive 6. 5x minus 18x plus 36 equals 127. Combining like terms, 5x minus 13x, minus 18x rather, gives me negative 13x. My brain was working too quickly. Subtract 36 from both sides. $91. Divide both sides by negative 13. X equals 13 times 7. Yep. Negative 7. X equals negative 7 because the positive divided by the negative. Boom. There's your homework.